The seventh house, if you have your sun in the seventh house, this is a soul that is going to shine socially. This is someone who loves being in connection with others. And this is traditionally the house of marriage. A lot of people are going to say this is the house of marriage, and it is the union, and it is the house of union. And I want to say this is the house of relationships. And so we walk down the aisle. I said this in my last video. We walk down the aisle and we say, I do, and we kiss and we love and mwah, mwah, and oh, everybody, we're married, and woo, we throw the bouquet, and it's fabulous. But this is not the house of intimacy. This is the house of union, bonds, and connections. And I can be married, but I can also have a seventh house relationship with my very best friend too. And my very best friend gets me at the soul level. And I don't have sex with that person, but I have intimacy with that person. That person loves me and will die for me, and we have a union. It's like we are, right? That's the seventh house. So the seventh house might be marriage, but it is not sex. So let's call this together today as an evolutionary astrologer. Let's call this the house of relationships. And diplomacy is going to be developed. So will tact, and so will brilliant interpersonal skills. Why? Because this is the natural house of, are you with me? You've got it. Tell me you have it. Libra, right? So you're going to have a Libra filter. I don't care if you're in Aries. If you're in Aries, this is awesome because you're going to have this like diplomacy and tact and grace and beauty and love and harmony, all these Libra qualities attached to your rough and gruff and tenacious and ferocious Aries. You're going to be a people attractor and a people pleaser. And you're going to have this magical ability to create rapport. And actually, you invented rapport. Tell me if you understand me. I know that I have a lot of people where English is not their first language on this channel, and I use a complex vocabulary, and I use a vocabulary that's nuanced. Even native English speakers don't always understand exactly what I'm saying, because I don't know why. I think it was my mama, but I got an extensive vocabulary, and if you don't understand exactly what I mean, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, I mean this in a genuine way, I want you to ask me a question. Ask me where you're confused, or like, I didn't understand your rapport comment, because I want you to get this at the deepest of levels, and vanilla language won't give me the level of nuance that I need as a tool for this to pierce your soul. Are you with me? I'm talking seventh house right now, okay? So each house, I'm talking in their language, and I'm talking seventh house language right now. So if you have a seventh house soul, I think you get the art of language, the art of communication. Let me know. Talk back to me. Leave me a comment. Tell me that I'm crazy. I've lost my mind. I don't care. I'll learn and I'll grow. I am that kind of person. I rarely, but sometimes I get comments that are like, what? I grow from them. I like to learn too. If you're a seventh house soul, you're going to feel like marriage of some sort or union is critical to your life, and you are more capable than most than to literally put yourself inside of the skin of another person to develop empathy, and you can better than most people understand the other person's perspective and stand in their shoes. You will be better than most at setting your own agenda aside and looking at life through their perspective. And that's not easy for most people. I mean, that really is not easy. My God, today, isn't it needed? Wow, it is needed. And I need to remind myself of that too. Like, we need to look through the police's perspective, and we need to look through the protester's perspective. We need to look at the man's perspective and the woman's perspective. We need to look through the minority's eyes, and we need to look through the person who's not the minority. We need to look through the Democrats' eyes and the Republicans' eyes. We need to look through what it looks like to be an American through China's eyes and through an American person's eyes. We need to look at what it means to be Chinese through an American perspective and through a Chinese perspective. Just a side note, I want to tell you that my next door neighbors, Lily's parents, I'm sorry, I got a little tiny baby. Her name's Lily. She lives next door. And I'm probably talking too loud, but I just love her and adore her. So if you can hear her, she's darling. They're Chinese and they're first generation. I mean, they barely speak English. Their parents come over and I love their parents. Oh my God, I love their parents. And we just all we have is body language. I mean, I'm in a relationship with those parents. That dad was on the house putting up his Christmas lights and I was on my house putting up my Christmas lights. And he helped me with mine and I helped him with his. And we didn't understand anything except, I like you, I want to help you. That's all we understood through body language. And I got out my ladder and I'm like, I help you. And he's like, I help you. And he shined the light. And it was really, really stinking cute. What I'm saying is this is the 7th house. It's union. And here's what's weird about that. He went back to China. He hasn't been back here since Christmas. And now it's July. I have chills telling you the story. It's the sweetest thing. This is Lily's grandpa. And I love that little Lily. She's 2 years old. She cries in all my videos when I'm outside. I love her so much. That man touched me and he was generous with me and he was kind. He saw life through my eyes and I saw life through his. And it was really sweet. He asked me to read his maps one day and tell him how to get to Kirkland, which is 2 towns away. It's where the COVID epicenter was in the state of Washington. And it was the first place that COVID was discovered in the United States at the Kirkland, elderly center. And he wanted to go there. It's not far from my house. It's 13 miles from my house. And I'm trying to tell him in English how to get there. You take a left and a right and turn around and at the U-turn and you get on the freeway and then you take a left. It was a disaster. It was a mess. Anyways, we used the little WhatsApp and he's outside my house just I'm lost. I'm in the United States from China. It was just the cutest moment because, God, I tried so hard. I didn't make a dent in the directions. That moment was a marriage, right? It was a marriage, a melding. It was a morphing of energy, an alchemy of pouring our energy into each other's bottle. And it was a marinating. That's the 7th house. And there's intimacy in that because here I am, how many months later, talking about that 1 nanosecond of time. And that was a union. It's really, really sweet. So the 7th house, when I say marriage, I mean a melding together, a meaningful, impactful moment where I slip into your skin and I am you for a moment. And I don't run my agenda on you. If I was some ugly person, I would have been saying, you can't speak English, I'm not talking to you, or whatever. I would have been saying some other bullshit that my soul can't even think to say. I would have said some ugly thing that would not have allowed me to merge. I don't even have the voice or the conversation inside my head. I'm just imagining the BS that some cruel person would have said. Nobody on this channel sitting here this deep listening to me even feels. So you get me, right? But I'm just saying this is the 7th house, the house of merging, the house of union, the house of marriage. And this can be with your Chinese neighbor who's helping you hang Christmas lights on a snowy Seattle day for 5 minutes, or it could be your husband or wife. But this house, if you have your son here, this is a brilliant house because you're brilliant at PR and diplomacy. And it's why you're good at interpersonal relationships. And this is the house of relating. I relate to you. I'm white, you're black. I'm white, you're Chinese, I'm this, American, you're from France. I get you, you get me. This is the house of, we find mutual understanding in our differences. My 7th house people, please speak up. Talk to me about this. How different are you from me, but yet you still get me? Same with me to you. If your son is here, you are other-oriented. You are not self-oriented. This is not the 4th house. The 4th house is here to discover self. They're not bad people. It's just they need to know themselves. The 7th house is, I get you. I see you. I feel you. I relate to you. So 7th house people, listen, if you are in the 7th, if you have the sun in the 7th house and you're in a sales job, you don't sell. You relate. You relate. You build relationships. You're not a salesperson. You're a relationship person. This is the house of the bartender who pours the drink that already knows what your favorite thing is. You like Kettle One, 2 shots of vodka, slight thing of olive juice, and, straight up. Like, this is the house of relationships and relating. In the shadow side, these people become codependent because they care more about you than they do themselves. And we'll talk about the shadow side of the 7th house more, but I got to keep moving. Otherwise, I could spend my whole lifetime on the 7th house. I could spend my whole lifetime on each house. You guys, astrology is infinite. It is so big. It is so deep. Thanks for sticking with me, and stay with me through the rest of the houses, because I want you to think about the people that you know, not just yourself. Don't do this just for yourself. Think about who your mother is, who your father is, who your child is, who your boyfriend is, who your freaking ex-boyfriend is. That loser. Yeah, he was the shadow side of whatever house I'm talking about, because you're not with him, right? He didn't deserve you. I just have to say I'm giving my 7th house people an extra bonus here, because relationships are paramount to you. You cannot even do your life without relationships. You cannot even do your life without others. A 4th house sun or a 12th house sun can do life without, or 11th house sun can actually do life quite emotionally alone, but not the 7th house. They need collaboration, they need partnerships, and they need marriages. And when I say marriage, I mean it metaphorically, like my Chinese neighbor's father from China helping me hang Christmas lights. The 7th house soul needs relationships. And if your sun is badly aspected, you're going to do relationships wrong and bad and in a dysfunctional way. And you're going to lose self-esteem around them. And I don't want that to happen. If you feel like you are a 7th house sun, but you're doing bad unions, I want you to order my deep natal chart, and I want you to really get into the videos that I've done and go watch every Libra video I have. And because especially my Libra rising my Libra rising part 1 and part 2, I have a lot of Libra videos on my channel, and dive deep. If you feel like you are a 7th house sun that's not doing it in a healthy way, study Libra in its highest degree, because I actually think Libra is the most psychic sign of the zodiac. And I've said this in one of my other videos. I won't go into it right now, but I do. I think they blend logic and intuition like others can't. They're other oriented, and I'm giving you my love. It's not that I'm prejudiced. I just think that they are remarkable, and they can lose themselves in others, and they can slip into the shadow side very, very quickly because they're so attached to other people's agendas. If you want me to break it out for 1 hour and talk about each house for 1 hour or a half, like just do one house, like if you want me to go slower than this, leave me a comment below. But I want to tell you something. If you've gotten this deep into my video, I'm going to do a contest, and my contest is this. All you have to do is like, comment, and share my video. I'm going to draw a name on August 15th, and that person is going to win their gorgeous natal chart and their deep dive natal report. And I'm going to give it to you for free. And if you have your birth time, it is huge. It's between 35 and 60 pages. It will tell you all about you. All you have to do is leave a comment, like and share. I'm trying to get to 20,000 subscribers, so help me get there by sharing my videos, and like, comment, and share, and let me know that you're interested in winning my deep dive natal report. Just leave me a comment like, I'd like to win the deep dive natal report and my gorgeous chart, Meredith, pick me, and leave me that. And I'm going to draw a name. I'm going to put everybody into a hat, and I'm going to randomly draw, and I'm going to start running my contest, because I want you guys to be able to receive my deep dive natal report. It is so, so good. On August 15th, I'm going to draw the name, and I'll let you know who you are. I'll leave you a comment on this video, and I will also put it on my community page. So go look over there. Okay, the 8th house. If you have the sun in the 8th house, this is the house of deep transformation and intimacy. A lot of people call it sex. I'm going to call it intimacy, because I think you can have sex with the soul, the mind, or the body. It is also the house of death. And death is the death of the old you and the birth of the new. There is no such thing as death. I leave this body to transcend into another. I leave this body, I release this body, my soul lives through eternity. So death just means rebirth. Please do not be fearful if you have an 8th house sun. I know it's heavy. This is the house of old souls. This is the house of darkness. But this is the house where you will develop your resources, your psychic sight, your money, your self-worth, your information, and you will share it and donate it to others. This house gives themselves to their loyal other. This is the house of the deepest intimacy. This is the jugular, like intimate. This is the house where there is a deep ability for self-improvement and regeneration through the psychological study of self. Finances are usually really good when you have an 8th house sun, and then you leave them and share them and give them as a legacy. This is the house of the mystical, the occult, and the psychic realms of life. These people are deep, deep, and deeper. And they will dance with death and loss and destruction and divorce and goodbyes. And this will either procreate either the victim of you will be the victim of it, or others will be the victim of it in you. You will either be the one they leave, or you will be the one leaving. You will be fascinated with life after death stories and subjects, and you will walk where angels fear to tread. If you aren't too big of a victim, or you don't have a life that is too hard to master, and if you don't succumb to the pain of your life, you will master enlightenment, most likely, because enlightenment comes through the process of death. Look at Nelson Mandela, look at Gandhi, look at the Dalai Lama, Buddha, or Jesus Christ, the man, not the religion. Look at Florence Nightingale, look at Mother Teresa, look at Martin Luther King, look at Helen Keller. They were enlightened. And this is people who rose above the unbearable, destructive challenges in life. Not all of them survived it, but while they did survive their challenges on earth, and the ones they overcome, it rose them up into a power of deep transformation of self and others and society and the masses. What did Helen Keller do for the world? What did Florence Nightingale do what did Mother Teresa and Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King and Jesus Christ and Buddha do? They transformed it. I'm not saying you believe. I'm not saying you subscribe. I'm just saying they had the effect of deep transformation. They created something that was eternal. There is Braille because of Helen Keller. Are you with me? Do you get me? Are you an 8th house soul? Because through your agony and suffering and pain, you have the ability to metamorphose not just yourself, but life. It's deep. It's really, really deep. Embrace the exfoliations of your soul, because you, my friend, are the great transformer. It's true. Okay, let's look at the 9th house. If you have the sun in the 9th house, your soul craves reaching for or developing the higher ideals and philosophies of life. You, my friend, are a visionary, and you are going to evolve into the idealist, and your evolution will catapult you into the guru of high ideals and tolerance of other people's views. The shadow side is going to have you be a bit dogmatic or fanatic or somebody who just parrots other people's beliefs. But what I see with this 9th house sun is really interesting, because you're here to be truly authentic to your truth and to the truth that you discovered through life. And you're here to embrace your soul's calling in its quest for truth and wisdom and in search of the Holy Grail. And you're going to do this through a love of travel and a love of global understanding and a love of people and cultures that are different than you. You appreciate the differences of people in life. And you are the metaphoric archaeologist. You're going to dig for the bones of truth. You are the historian. You probably love foreign language, foreign music, foreign food, foreign culture. You are the globalist. And at the core, you believe in abundance and you have deep, deep, deep faith in goodness. You can't even hold a grudge if you want to. Your truth, of course, is a universal truth, not a personal truth. It's not a fourth house truth or a second house truth. It's a ninth house truth. It's a universe. You're in search of a universal truth. That universal truth is more fascinating than your own truth. And that is what is beautiful about you. You have an acceptance. Your sun sign makes you a visionary, a globalist, a philosopher, a person who believes in regulating the rights for all people and justice, and you are intolerant of intolerance. You feel that all people, all walks of life, everybody from every part of the globe deserve. So you're not into like sociology in an economical way, you're in a global way. So you believe in a global perspective. I mean, you're probably the person who invented like the DNA test that connected all people from all parts of the world and discovered Mongolia was the center, the epicenter of humanity leaving Africa. And Mongolia is the fork in the road where you turn left or right and you became, European or Asian. That was probably a ninth house soul who discovered that. So global truths and global understandings and joy and optimism and faith and philosophy and the great philosopher and regalness and authority wants to be achieved by a ninth house sun. They will become the great philosopher. Plato must have been a ninth house sun, where I will create the philosophy of life and make it into law. Did you hear that? I will create the great truth of life in the global perspective, not American life, not Swedish life, not Brazilian life, life, like man, woman, human. And I will put that into law, a hypothesis that turns to law. Like if you are human, then this is so. And if you are from Zimbabwe or Russia or Slovenia or Romania or Bulgaria or, it doesn't matter where, or South America, Central America, Australia, we have a global understanding. We understand each other. Plato. Study Plato. If you're in ninth house sun, tell me, are you a teacher? You are teaching some law, some philosophy, some truth, global visionary perspective. Ninth house suns, tell me, dear God, what are you passionate about? These are some of the most passionate souls on the planet because this house is ruled by Sagittarius, which Jupiter rules, which is larger than life. So this is the biggest house in the zodiac. It doesn't matter if you are the smallest sign, that would be Mercury or the moon. So if you are Mercury, Gemini or Virgo or Cancer, if you're in the ninth house, you feel gargantuan. It's crazy, isn't it? Are you having fun? We're only on the 10th house. We got just 2 more to go after this. Okay, if you have your sun in the 10th house, this is big. This is traditionally known as the house of career. Dun, dun, dun. I find that boring. I'm sorry. I'm an evolutionary astrologer and I want to modernize this for you. I call this the house of great works. I call this the house of Beethoven. Are you sick of me yet? Tell me if you hear me talking about this all the time. But you are here as a sun sign. I don't care what sign it is. Do not tell me what sign it's in. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a Virgo, a Taurus, a Gemini, a Scorpio, a Leo, a Sag, does not matter. If you are a 10th house sun, you are here for great works to be developed, to leave as a legacy. You are here to create a renowned life. And if you are a 10th house soul and The music is dying inside of you. I am so sorry. Like, I hurt for you. Like, if you are a 10th house sun and you're not producing your great work, that is so painful and so hard. My heart breaks. These people are born to be renowned. A lot of people would say these people are born to be famous. I will say they are born to be renowned for their work. And they have a desire to attain success like nobody's business. There are more presidents in the world, and sometimes they're dictators, presidents, kings, queens, I don't know, whatever you want to say, top dogs. Forgive me for my American commentary. It's my culture. I don't know the difference, but chancellors, prime ministers, queens, kings. Am I allowed to say dictators? What's Putin called? Monarch? I don't know what he's called. Tell me what he's called. Please, somebody help me, educate me. I need help. But don't be mean to me. Just appreciate that I ask. I just don't know. But heads of states, this is the 10th house. You are here. You are born to create a renowned life, a life of great work. So you have a desire to attain success or power for the benefit of others. In order for you to feel successful, you have to feel truly of value and truly empowered by others. You want to shine and be recognized for your accomplishments, and you want to be really, really good at something. There's a strong motivation towards your career and towards standing out amongst others and having deep personal achievements seen and recognized in the world, in the public eye, in the community. And you have the ability here to really inspire other people's and shine through your example. You will become the example in life, and your soul it's here to become an example to others. And you know that deep down inside, and you knew that from birth. And there's an ambition in you, and there is an aim for this high position in your community or in your society. And your ship is going to sail into high territory, high positions. Other people are going to see this ambition and this success in you. And I just pray that you see it in yourself too. I know a couple 10th house people that have no idea that they're even good at anything. And it is so debilitating and so heartbreaking. It is when you have a 10th house sun and you don't know that you're good at something. That is painful. That's like knowing that I don't even have a right leg when I do have a right leg. That's like, I don't even know I have this arm. It's that obvious to other people. And yet when they don't know it, that should be frightening. That should scare you. That should have you on 911 alert. So I pray that you see your goodness inside of you. Please tell me if you are a 10th house soul, 10th house sun, 10th house soul, you know what I mean by now, and you don't know what you're good at. If you're under 30, okay, we're still okay. If you're over 30 and you don't know, if you're over 50 and you don't know, you need to write me. You need to write a comment below. Seriously, that's going to break my heart. In the negative, you can just see yourself as, other people taking advantage of you, or other people just being an opportunist with you, or maybe you inherited money or status or fame and people just want to use you. And that's really true. That can actually really happen. And I think that there are a lot of people that have lost their lives over that, where they just felt used. And I just never want that to happen. I want you to have more self-worth in that. But 10th house souls were born for the spotlight, and they were born to live in the public eye and influence the community that they live in. And as Stephen Forrest, my mentor, says, we must get paid for being ourselves when we have a 10th house sun. And we must do this with ease. So whoever you are now, like Beethoven, I personally, sorry if I've reused this so many times, but I personally call this Beethoven's house. And Beethoven's house is, Beethoven didn't clock in 9 to 5. He didn't check in, punch the card 9 and check out at 5. He created great works. And wherever we live in the world, if you want to listen to Beethoven right now, you can. That's how amazing that man is. I call this Beethoven's house because he created a legacy that has lived hundreds and hundreds of years after he not died, but transitioned. He was phenomenal. When you are fully bloomed in your true blossom of life, this is the house of maturity. And with maturity comes higher principles and the development of ethical and moral standards like no other house. And this is when you are fully self-actualized in the 10th house that the sage is born. This is the house of the guru. Don't waste this lifetime. Okay, the 11th house. You know, the 11th house is traditionally known as friends, but with the 11th house, you probably possess this desire to raise goals to a higher level, and you seek ideas that are going to benefit a group, and you're going to want to be a part of the solution, not the problem. And you're going to look at life through the idea of the solution, and you have this ability to make friends, and many friends of yours are going to be influential and wield power as it serves your cause. You are going to be action for change. Action for change. These people want to change the world. And you have an ability to go way beyond the biological ties and reach the masses. So family and biology does not matter. It does not matter who my mother or father is. I mean, that's great. Yippee yahoo. They're fantastic people, and I'm done with them. I mean, not totally, but if you're an 11th house sun, like, you go way beyond your own family. You are from another world. In truth, I think, and you're not going to find this in a book. You won't find this in any book. You're from the future. And I'm not saying you're a bot or a robot or an alien, but you are from our future, and you've reincarnated to teach us. And I say this in the most loving of ways, but you're an advanced soul, and you are so advanced, you're alien, and you feel alienated. It might be that you're an advanced soul in the arena of communication, or in the arena of politics, or in the arena of technology, or in the arena of, I don't know, the pipe system underneath my house, or in air filters, or in the heating system for life, or in the food system of life. It might not be in all arenas, but it might be in one arena, and that makes you a little bit quirky. And why do we say quirky? You know, it's crazy, right? Because quirky isn't really quirky. Quirky is actually advanced usually. Quirky means you're not in the archaic tribe. Are you with me? I'm speaking every language of every house. And I feel lucky that I'm even capable of doing it. That I don't just speak my own language of my own soul, of my own house, and that I can actually represent all the houses. This house is really misunderstood, like the 6th house. And it royally pisses me off. It just does. So when you're the 11th house, people say, oh, this is the house of groups and organizations, friends, hopes, and wishes and dreams. Blah. No, this is the house of the future. This house has been dumbed down and diluted. I'm sorry, if you're 11th house soul, do you feel like you've gotten the short end of the stick in every frickin' book you've ever read about yourself? Yes. And so no astrologer has really talked about it like this. But if you're 11th house, or if you're an Aquarian, or if you have Uranus conjunct the sun, that's for my advanced students. If you don't know what that means, forget it. It doesn't matter. It's just, do you have the sun in the 11th house? And if you do, and if you feel alien or alienated, it's because you are alien, because you are from the future. And you're bringing back to, I don't know, I guess it would be like if the people who were watching me today were from, I don't know, maybe the 1800s, and I was trying to talk to them, I would feel very foreign. And by the way, I started astrology 23 years ago as a professional getting paid, and people didn't even know what it was. I still say to this day, when I go apply for a bank account, or I'm on the board of directors of an organization called Eastside Friends of Seniors, and I help senior citizens stay independent, especially during COVID. I love this organization so much because like seniors are totally overlooked. So this is like anybody who needs help and assistance that has no family. So they're kind of like abandoned elderly. I met one of these little seniors this week, and she asked me what I did for a living, and I was like, oh God, what am I going to tell her? She was born in 1930. And I said, I'm an astrologer. And she's like, really? And I said, yeah, that's astrologer, not astronomer. I study the stars, but I study the meaning of the star, not the actual like science of the star, although there is science in astrology. But I didn't want her to think for a minute that I was like working for NASA. And she's like, that's fascinating. What do you mean? And I said, well, what's your birthday? She said, I'm a Gemini. I'm like, well, you're this and this and this. She's like, oh, this is interesting. And you make a living? So what I'm saying is these people are from the future. And the people from the future have to constantly educate. And it's tiring, right? It's exhausting. You're here for a cause. You're here to go way beyond the biologics of life and the biological ties, and you want to reach the masses, and you're going to work with friends and groups and organizations to feed your soul. And you're going to have a leadership role inside of group activities and friends and get-togethers and all of that. But in truth, your soul is from the future, and you're here to teach us where to go and how to think and how to believe and how to expand and how to progress. And you're going to be an inspiration for what is yet to come. And it's fearful to meet you, because you're rocking my world. You know, I have my coffee in the morning and I have my sunrise at a certain time, and you're going to mess with all that. And you're going to tell me that all of that is changing, and I'm not going to like you for all of that. So if you can create a little bit of a flow and a little bit of a finesse in the delivery, it'll go a long way. If you feel alienated or alone, this is why. Change is threatening. You're a little bit more advanced than the rest of us. And don't be arrogant about it, because that's not going to help you at all. Who here has an 11th house sun, and what do you do for a living? What do you do? Are you progressive? Are you on the front lines of change? I want to tell you something that's interesting. I want you to know you. You're not going to find a friend and then advance them. No. Like a 5th house sun is going to find a friend, and then they're going to get that friend to do life like they do life. You're not going to do that. You're going to find a cause and find a organization that supports your cause or your belief and your progressive belief. And then you're going to integrate into that organization that has like-minded souls. And then you're going to make friends. So it's going to come through a cause that you believe in, and you're going to make friends with like-minded souls. You will find your mission, and through your mission, you will find your friends. Tell me if it's true, 11th house suns. I want to know. 12th house souls, 12th house suns. This is a big house. This is the house of infinity. You are deep and you are vast, and I would say, this is me. You're not going to find this in a book. If I write my book, this is what I would say. You are the house of the earth angel. You have a relationship with the pain and the agony that has existed in all of the years prior to this lifetime, and maybe even in this lifetime. And you, my friend, have learned what it means to be the guardian of others. And the guardian of others is the guardian angel of others. This sun sign placement is so hard and so painful. It is the house of transcendence. So what is self-transcendence. I know you know, but it is at the core about the rising above self and all the pain and all the suffering that you have felt and plugging it into the collective life. It's about being able to relate your pain to the collective and showing how your pain is a reflection of all mankind's pain. If you're incarcerated and you're incarcerated falsely, and did you see the movie Mercy? That's a story about self-transcendence with Jamie Foxx. He was falsely incarcerated and he knew many others were. And I don't want to tell the story, but his journey is about helping everyone who has been falsely incarcerated become free again. That is transcendence and self-transcendence. That is the 12th house. These are the people who see themselves as a small part of the greater whole, and they act accordingly. And their mission becomes a mission of being a small cog in a giant, giant wheel that is unfair and unjust and not right, that oppresses and suppresses and hides and snuffs out people that don't matter, that actually, and their souls and their minds do. My mind too. Now, in the shadow, this can create a desire to seek like seclusion from the painful world. And sometimes these people can really wallow in a self-pity or a sympathy, but it's because they take on the pains of the entire world and it's unbearable. And these people, more than any other soul, have got to go into self-seclusion to recharge their batteries. And I get it. I understand. If you're a 12th house sun, this is a karmic lifetime. This is karmic. This is huge. I mean, you might be transitioning from earthbound to heavenbound, and becoming a guardian angel on the other side permanently. This may be your last lifetime. If you are a Pisces and you are if you're a Pisces and you are a 12th house sun Pisces, and you are at the end degrees, like 28 or 29, especially if you're a 29 degrees Pisces in the 12th house, you need to leave me a comment. I mean, you may be on your last incarnation and you can suffer from a lack of self-esteem and self-confidence because the earthbound world is so crazy making to you. But let's work on that. Let's work on that while you're here, because I want you to have an enjoyable and lovely and beautiful life of value. You have the deepest empathy for the sick or the mentally disturbed or those who are displaced in our society. And you are an earth angel. You are here as a guardian for others who cannot speak or talk for themselves. You are here for those animals that cannot speak for themselves, that cannot say, hey, I'm Shamu. I don't want to live in a swimming pool at SeaWorld. That sucks. I want to be free in the ocean, or at least make my pool bigger, at least make a habitat that I can thrive in. That's you, 12th house suns. And so you also may develop a clairvoyant power. And it's not that you develop, it's that you remember. It's that you came into this world and you remember it. But you have a psychic phenomenon in you. And you're here to see and learn and experience and teach about the higher levels of consciousness for other souls. And you are hypersensitive, and that's what's beautiful, and that's what's hard about you. And the only way to face higher consciousness is to stand inside of situations that are utterly and absolutely impossible. You will prevail, and when you do, you change the world through the capacity of love, acceptance, and empathy, through the conduit of being the guardian angel for others and the world. You might be the guardian angel for the sea, picking up trash on a kayak. You might be the guardian angel for Rottweilers or pit bulls. You might be the guardian angel for a whole sect of society, the homeless. I'm not saying you have to be, but you might be. The 12th house is a very difficult house. It is filled with challenges. It is filled with sewage and the plague. But when they overcome it, they end up being the house of wisdom. This was a long video, but I hope you loved it. I hope you got a lot out of it. Please leave me a comment, subscribe, share, and like. And if you want to be in the drawing for my deep natal report, I'm going to draw the name on August 15th. So either look here underneath your comment to see if you won on August 15th, or on my community page, I'll also notify my winner, and then I will email it to you. I hope you are wonderful. I hope you got a lot out of this. Study with me. I'm here every single Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Sundays with Soulnavigation, and stay tuned for more information. I'm expanding my business. I'm growing it. I have my new product line that I'm going to launch, and lots of new things. I'm also going to have a membership where I have secret videos. I can't wait to tell you more. Stay tuned. Join me on Instagram at soul_navigation, and I'll reveal it over there. Take good care. From my home to your home, I wish you the very best. Mwah.